Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra.
And welcome everybody to another edition of the Bison Media Zone on WDAY Extra. Back with Jeff Kolpack. Happy New Year. What is this now year for you? Here?
Oh, come on. Let's not go there. Yeah, it's year 71, I think, something like that, around there.
And a Newsy Wednesday for Jeffrey to join us here on the show as we are officially 15 days out from the Bison opener in Colorado, Jeff. And typically, sometimes fall camp is bereft of stories. That is not the case for the Bison football team in 2024. The big story that you posted yesterday after we talked with head coach Tim Polasek centers on Cole Wisniewski, the All-American safety who is yet to practice at all here during fall camp, trying to heal back from off-season foot surgery. The update yesterday from Tim Polasek, which we'll hear his comments in a moment, saying that we're going to find in the next 2 weeks, this is a huge deal, one way or the other, if he plays or not for the Bison.
Well, I think we knew, Dom, it was going to be a newsy fall camp. It's just sort of the reporter instinct in all of us that with a change in coaching staff, there's always potential for things to happen. Now, number 31 sitting right there, that's the big story. It reminds me of Noah Gindor from a couple of years ago. Noah had that ankle problem and never quite healed. We thought maybe it was healed. He played a couple games, played at Arizona, actually was effective there, and then shut her down after that with another surgery. Now, with Cole Wisniewski, yesterday in talking to the head coach, he brought the possibility up of surgery could be in a potential thing again, and that's not good. Now, with Cole, he's younger than what Noah Gindorf was, and so he does have another year of eligibility should that worst-case scenario happen. But you look at your playmaker here, and he led the FCS interceptions with 8 last year. Well, Tim Polasek said earlier in camp he's looking forward to the playmakers on offense. I'm wondering who the playmakers on defense are going to be.
It's a good question, especially if number 31 can't play. We're going to play this between Jeff and myself. We asked Tim Polasek yesterday. This is exactly what he said about Wisniewski's status right now. On Wisniewski or McCaslin?
Wisniewski's, that's going to take probably 2 to 3 weeks. 10 days to 14 days, I guess, 2 weeks to get any kind of final decision on what we're going to do. McCaslin will see a specialist here in the next couple of days, and then we'll get, he's had a tough road too because he's got some real ability and he's a Bison. He works hard, and I'm really, praying that goes the way we need it to go.
For Cole, is that a determination of either playing or not playing this season?
Yeah, I think for Cole, extended time.
Okay.
We'd be talking about a potential another surgery. And so from there, we'll see. But at the same time, he's out here in between the moments. He's running and he's looking pretty good. It's just a matter of can this thing get to the point where he's functional enough to be confident.
Okay. McCaslin, by the way, is not to be brushed aside. No. I want to get to that in a second because those comments were ominous as well about the young defensive end. To me, this is leaning, again, I'm no doctor. If he's out there running and he said that and he looks okay, does he do the DeLuca thing from a couple years ago? You remember that, where Nick played 3 games, then shut it down, had surgery, redshirted, and came back the following year. That's the same spot I think Cole's in right now if he wants to play in that game. But how effective are you if you're playing on one foot is the question.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what this thing is a problem.
Right.
It's obviously some real technical medical thing going on with his foot. And you look at Cole Wisniewski, he's got that frame. Yeah. And he's got that ability and he's got that speed and just instinct that it's hard to replace. This is a big year for Darius Givens.
Yeah.
I think Darius Givens is that potential playmaker. It's his 3rd year. They've always loved his size and speed from the day he stepped on campus. Yep. And picking up the defense maybe was another matter. But talking to Devin Kleiman last spring even, Devin just targeted this guy as being potential. Now you have Ryan Jones and you have Sam Young. They're steadies. They've been around. They're dependable. But are they playmakers like the ability of Darius Givens and even Jalen Crumby could be in the mix?
You can go right into it. So this is a heck of a thing for Devin Kleiman. His first position coach job he'd be thrown into is to find who might be another starter. You mentioned Jones got his first start last year when Wisniewski was concussed against UND, and that was to mixed results probably when Ryan came in, certainly against the UND game. Sam Young played every snap last year. They think they know what they have there. You mentioned Darius Givens. They have Jalen Crumby, who's a young man who's now a redshirt freshman who played just a couple games last year as a true freshman. Hudson Arts has played a little bit. Those are the names. I don't know who's next at safety, but those are the names that are in the mix right now.
Well, you talk about Devin Kleiman, and what a conundrum for a first-year coach in his first full-time gig. But, that's what you sign up for, Devin. And now, welcome to the college football world. His best player, it doesn't sound good, right? It just doesn't
sound ominous to me.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It sounds like, oh, man, it's just something's just not right there. And maybe things turn around. At the least, I just don't see him playing at Colorado.
We got video of the guys. I mean, Crumby's got good size. Givens, you mentioned out there. Jones has played. He has the most experience of the non-starter with Young. It's hard to determine. Crumby's been mentioned a few times. Kleiman brought him up to me, and Polasek both by name about these guys that potentially could play.
Well, and they're going to need somebody. I mean, you just can't go into a season with two safeties. It's just it's too long of a season. It's especially early in the season. It may be hot in Colorado. We don't know, but it usually trends that way this time of year. You're going to need more than two guys there. And I think Darius Givens, it's a sink or swim. I think you just got to put him out there and say.
He's been great on special teams.
Yes, and that's where a lot of people carve their niche right away. So maybe this is his time. I mean, we always say the third year is the make or break year.
You say sink or swim. I remember. No, comparison's not fair. Robbie Grimsley was thrown into that. It was either sink or swim, and he sank early on, and then started to swim.
That was at Montana.
As the season went along, is this the same spot potentially? Because you're not going to face a better talented wide receiver group than game one. South Dakota State is down in that spot. Colorado has Travis Hunter playing out there.
Among others.
Among other guys they have at the wide receiver spot. That is as talented as they're going to face, and it's going to be right off the hop.
Well, I think let's just talk a little bit about the Colorado game. This really is going to put the pressure on the Bison defensive line to create some pressure on Shedeur Sanders, because if you have a couple inexperienced guys in the secondary, there's nothing better for an inexperienced guy than when the quarterback's running for his life or on his back. So you could say all you want about the D-backs. It's really going to boil down to the Bison D-line. And a lot of teams did it last year to Colorado. There's going to be a new offensive line. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves in talking about this game, but really I think the big unit and the big difference maker in Boulder, Colorado on August 29th has got to be the D-line.
And that's a great segue, Kolpack, because we mentioned Kelton McCaslin, sophomore defensive, another guy they've been hanging on to for a long time, thinking he could be impact guy, is out with a knee injury. You heard Polasek say they're praying there. I mean, that's a word he used. That's also an ominous sign that he may not be available, not just for Colorado, might be for the season.
Well, we think it's a knee injury with Kelton McCaslin, and so who knows if it's MCL. Probably not ACL. They would already determine that it's out, so I'm not sure exactly what. But that's a position I'm not really concerned about so much because there is more depth there. I think Zen's going to have a big year. We don't know.
Stay healthy. Right?
Yep. We haven't seen him yet at DN, so I think that's going to be a big year for him. You got Cole Menz, you got LaShaka Rokes.
Hendricks is going to have his
keep
up where he did last year.
And he was the guy last year at the end of the year. And he looks like, I mean, you look at Dylan Hendricks. This is a man out there. I mean, this is a guy who looks like he's 23, 24.
He's been in college for 6 years.
Well, maybe he has.
Right?
But this is a big year for him, too, to continue and be that maybe Kyle Emanuel, that Derek Tuska kind of guy.
They have not had it since Tuska. Or Braden Thomas, I would say, in 2021. The guy off the edge that would require a double team. It's not been there. And, boy, Colorado's going to be starting a true freshman at left tackle in game one. That's a way. I know Shedeur is a different player, and we'll get to that as we get closer to the football game. But if you're able to mess up that Colorado offensive line, that's an easy way to do it.
Yeah, they need that guy. So when the quarterback goes to the line of scrimmage, he's always looking out for that end.
Correct.
That end. I mean, they knew where Greg Menard was. They knew where Kyle was. They knew where Tuska was. And there's always that sort of the corner of your eye, kind of, okay, where is he?
And that also goes on the interior as well. They need the most starts to be healthy and be productive. That's not happened the last 2 years. Each of them been banged up. They have to have a huge senior year, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and then you got guys backing them up, too, so you're going to rotate.
Heifer and Heisman,
right, who've been around a while, too. So it's, again, I think this game's going to boil down, not to put the pressure on them, but I'm putting the pressure on them, the D-line.
We'll see as well. We'll give updates as we can on Cole Wisniewski's status. We come back. A huge announcement yesterday out of NDSU about this year's Hall of Fame class. surrounding the all-time winningest football coach coming back to Fargo. We'll detail that and a look ahead of the future football schedule as well. We're back on the Bison Media Zone right after this. I know we're getting close to the start of the season. We got our football preview shows coming. Our first one is Sunday night, 10:35 on WDAY. Jeff will join me, cast of thousands, Sam Getzinger as well. So get you ready this Sunday and next Sunday in anticipation of the 2024
back-to-back preview
Bison
shows.
Season. We got a big-time stuff coming. Colorado just 15 days away. So email comes in yesterday, and the headline kind of grabbed my attention, which is the point of it, and then I read it like, holy cow, and I texted you right away because the Bison Hall of Fame class for 2024 was announced. It comes in, of course, on homecoming every year. It'll be led by Craig Bohl, is going into the Bison Hall of Fame, obviously the architect of the Division I dynasty, joined by two other basketball greats in Ben Woodside and Brent Winkleman. Bohl officially has not been back in any capacity since he left for the Wyoming job, Jeff, 10 years ago. I think in that moment, we covered it. I think many thought, I don't know if we'll ever see Craig back. This is going to be quite the scene when he's back in September.
I don't think he's officially commented on his days at North Dakota State
Not since he left. No.
because I know we've asked him over the years.
No, you asked him a few times for your book project as well.
Well, I got him there.
Yeah,
But that took some doing. It took about several months in the making. But I know Kevin Schneff asked him for some comments, and he just politely declined, or however you want to put it. I just think when he got to Wyoming, it was like, this is all about Wyoming. This is done. I'm focusing on the now. But now that he's out of coaching, obviously this is a sign that maybe he's a little more reflective mood now.
And I know he's been back a few times. He's actually been back and spoke to this year's football team with his connection with Tim Polasek. Has, I don't know if reintegrated Bohl into the Bison aura mystique, but it's in a way where, and obviously he's been coaching for the last 10 years as well, that we just haven't seen it. That it just was not there over the last 10 years.
Well, maybe the fact that now he's done with the day-to-day hard tussle duties of being a head football coach at the FBS level and dealing with a portal in your program. Maybe now that he's had time, although he doesn't have a whole lot of time as the executive director of the American Football Coaches Association, still got a job, but maybe he's got a little more time to think, okay, this is what I've done in my career, and really the Hall of Fame, it's an obvious choice. He put this Division I team on the map by a mile. This is all him.
I'm just glad we're actually to the Division I era now for the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? We've been backlogged
here. This is going to be a heavy-hitting show. They might want to think about a bigger venue.
Right?
Talk about Winkleman
and Woodside.
Right. I mean, they're the guys that put the basketball team on the map. I mean, it's the Hall of Fame's good every year. This is heavy hitters. This is a heavy hitters.
I am interested. I'll get your thoughts. His reaction. He'll be introduced at halftime. What do you think the reaction will be from the Bison fans?
Never thought of that. It's got to be good. I mean, all the Bison.
Time has passed, but if you were to ask me in January 2014 or even September, it would not. I don't know how well it would have been received. Frankly.
I don't know about that. You think the fans care that he doesn't talk to us much?
I think the way it went down. I think
that's so long ago.
But now it's 10 years ago. That's
heals.
my thing. I think it's going to be a loud, boisterous ovation during the football game that day against Towson.
Well, I would think it better be. I mean, the fans better recognize that this is the guy who wrote the script on how to create a dynasty. I mean, you can read about it in my book, by the way.
I got this text in, and I'll ask you this. Should there be a statue? They're surprised there's not a statue of Bohl outside the dome.
That's a little too soon for that, isn't it?
I don't think so.
A statue?
Something to commemorate the guy. Like you said, he's the guy who brought this all together. This would not be a thing without Craig Bohl.
Why don't we put a statue of me outside the Forum? I mean...
Yes. Okay, you want to go there? Sure. I'm just saying something because there's nothing there. If not a statue, a plaque, something. Because if you look inside the dome, outside of maybe a couple of photos, there's nothing there to honor Craig Bohl.
Well, okay, I see your point. I see your point.
Yeah.
There's got to be some sort of recognition on the all-time winningest coach. I get that. So what would be appropriate? Let me think about that. I'll write a column on
plaque, something to honor
plaques. I don't know.
Something up or in the dome. Something's got to be there.
Well, if you put a statue of him, how about Ron Earhart?
I'm fine with it. Something to honor.
How about
the great
Jeff
coaches.
Bedram or
Kleiman's got to have one too? I would think as well. I'm just maybe they can have Bohl and Kleiman together. That'd be fun.
You are a statue guy.
Missouri Valley has got its new schedules out. I know you always love to look ahead. The one twist of this for 25 and 26, Jeffrey, is the Bison are going to be playing back-to-back years in Grand Forks. They wanted to finally split up the NDSU or the UND and SDSU home games, but that requires NDSU to make back-to-back trips to Grand Forks in 25 and in 26. That means the Jacks will be the home game in 2026. Murray State is off the schedule, and Northern Iowa is added on. So give me a couple thoughts on
About the
that.
2026 schedule? Yeah.
Or 25 and 26.
Well, this year, when Missouri State decided to leave, I think that really helps bring the true rivalries back to the fruition year after year after year,
Yes.
like they should be.
Northern
Iowa
Iowa
should never
always
be off the Bison schedule ever. And so when that happened, I was like, come on, you got to figure that out. I mean, I know NDSU doesn't own the schedule rights to the entire league, but you have to look at some go-to games if you're the conference commissioner, and that was certainly one.
The 25 schedule, the Bison, obviously, we're going to play 2 games on the road to start. They're going to Charleston, South Carolina to play the Citadel, and then Nashville, Tennessee to start 2025. Their conference opener is against South Dakota. They'll go to Illinois State back-to-back years as well, this year and next year in Bloomington. That might be difficult. We think SPAC's team, I think, is on the upward trajectory. Back-to-back roadies at Indiana State and Southern Illinois. And then they end the year, though, with 2 straight home games with Northern Iowa. And then that St. Thomas game is a non-conference game to end the season.
Yeah, I looking at that schedule. It's Southeast Missouri State. It's a pretty weak non-conference schedule. I mean, that's about as weak as it's been in a long time.
The highlight is being the game in Nashville at the Titan Stadium again. Or maybe it's Charleston, South Carolina. A lot of people.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
People like going to Charleston, South Carolina.
I wonder how many people are going to do the road trip, drive to the Citadel, and then go up to Nashville.
Personally.
I would.
Youngstown State is back on the schedule as well in 2025. 26, I mentioned that the Jacks are here. The Bison end the season. I've been pleading for this for years.
They finally listened to you.
End the year in Grand Forks. That could be a lot of fun.
Michigan, Ohio State, USC, UCLA.
Auburn, Alabama.
Who else is in that mix?
Well, you cover this forever in the old. NDSU UND used to be the final game of the season. And frankly, it should be again.
Can you start the schedule with South Dakota State, UND, NDSU? I'm talking about the last game of the year. Northern Iowa, Illinois State. I'm not sure who their top rival, but you get the gist.
It used to be Mo State for Northern Iowa, and now they're heading out. So that's the 26 schedule, which also includes a trip to the purple and gray, the stripes of Central Arkansas in 2026.
Youngstown and Indiana State, boy, there's a battle.
Now I'll tell you, again, sitting here in August of 24, that could blow up in the next 4 to 5 months as well. Everything is about as volatile as it possibly can get. Much more coverage of Bison Fall Camp at Inforum.com. Of course, don't forget our Bison preview show on Sunday night, 10:35 on Channel 6, and also next Sunday as we get you ready. We're just 15 days out from the opener.
Yep, game on.
We'll get you more info on all the injuries with Cole Wisniewski, Kelton McCaslin. Stay tuned to WDAY and Inform for that. Thanks to Jeff Kolpack for stopping by. We're back with you next Wednesday at 10:30 on the Bison Media Zone. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next week.